Investigators and EMS employees allege the husband and wife who ran Gonzales County EMS embezzled $150,000 in donations. A federal grant could fund the next chapter of the San Antonio area's opioid task force.
They started with this narrow focus on opioids to make sure they were going to secure these grants and make clear what the effort was all about. And now they have kind of the resources to expand a little bit.
In Bexar County's biggest school districts and other large districts across the state, a substantially higher percentage of students pass Texas's high school English II exam. And San Antonio Express News food columnist Chuck Blount says when it comes to barbecue sauces, he prefers to let the pros do the heavy lifting.
Let's face it, too, barbecue is a tough enough job. Putting in 4 hours or more for a cook. You need to pay so much attention to the meat. Do yourself a favor and take a shortcut on the sauce.
I'm Chance Storlin with your Express Briefing for Thursday, June 7th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. And get each day's top news and sports headlines delivered to your inbox at expressnews.com/newsletters. Investigators and EMS employees say Jim and Carla Russell, the husband and wife pair who ran Gonzales County EMS, embezzled more than $150,000 in a theft that has left Gonzales County with outdated medical equipment and EMTs without retirement funds and life insurance. Arrest warrants and search warrant affidavits obtained by expressnews.com show the couple is suspected of stealing donations to Gonzales County EMS, overpaying themselves, and misleading local businesses about where payments were going. Monday, the Russells were booked into the Gonzales County Jail on $50,000 bonds and bailed out the following day. Documents show detectives currently don't have a full picture of how much the Russells may have embezzled and outright stolen, with investigators only having examined financial records stretching back to about 2015, while Jim Russell, the department's former director, and Carla Russell, the department's salary supervisor, have worked for the Gonzales County EMS for more than 2 decades. When Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolff and Mayor Ron Nierenberg laid out the objectives of the city and county's opioid task force last July, they wrote that any meaningful solution to the growing public health crisis will require collaboration between a range of players. And Tuesday, Bexar County commissioners went ahead with an application for a new federal grant that, if awarded, would pay for a new expanded phase of the task force. So far, the task force's cohesive effort, aimed at addressing a growing epidemic of opioid overdose deaths, has helped secure a pair of federal grants worth more than $5 million. San Antonio Express News County government reporter Jasper Scherer says money from the potential third grant would expand the task force's reach.
The county is applying for a $900,000 grant through an arm of the Justice Department that would, as Nelson Wolff's chief of staff TJ Mays put it, provide a mechanism for the sustainability of the task force's work. So essentially, the idea is to create a more permanent infrastructure and to address opioid-related substance use disorders along with other substances. And so that, kind of broadly speaking, is one of the notable next steps here, is to address drug misuse other than opioids, behind the thinking that many people who die from opioids also use cocaine, amphetamines, benzodiazepines, which includes Valium.
More discussion of the latest grant proposal and how the money will be spent is available in this week's episode of Puro Politics, a free podcast covering local and state political stories, available for free download at expressnews.com/podcasts. Substantially higher percentages of students passed the state's high school English II exam on the first try this year, in Bexar County's biggest school districts as well as in other large districts across the state. The test is one of 5 state of Texas assessments of academic readiness end-of-course exams that students must pass to graduate high school, along with algebra, biology, English I, and U.S. history. Northside Independent School District Deputy Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction Janice Jordan says many large districts are reporting gains in English II, and anticipates an increase in its STAAR passage rate when statewide averages are announced. This is the second year of a new test configuration, with multiple choice questions replacing short answers on both English exams, with Jordan noting part of the increased scores may be due to students getting more accustomed to the format, while also crediting teachers for improved English II scores, praise that is echoed by administrators in Northeast and San Antonio ISDs. Statewide this year, 78% of 5th graders passed reading and 84% passed math. For 8th graders, 76% passed reading and 78% passed the math test. And finally, when it comes to barbecue sauce, sometimes it's best to leave it to the pros, with a few additions of your own.
This is Chuck Blount with the Express News Taste Team. Almost all commercial barbecue sauces are based with ketchup, and they use this stuff, Heinz or some other big type of commercial variety, or they'll use mustard, yellow mustard, or they'll use distilled white vinegar, or maybe apple cider vinegar. If you want to go ahead and try to make these on your own, go ahead, but chances are it's not going to be anywhere nearly as good as this. Competition barbecue cooks, they use this stuff. They go into the grocery store and they use it. But if you want to add some twist to it, you can always customize the sauce with the things that you want. I'm a big fan of the Rudy's barbecue sauce. You can get a big 32-ounce bottle for about $9. This will last you a year unless you're a heavy sauce user. I'm a big fan of, this is one of the Two Brothers Barbecue Market, Jason Dady's sauces, the dark espresso. Coffee just adds a little bit of an element into the sauce. I always try to get a mopping sauce, a wet mop, where you're constantly applying it to the meat. But for your bases, a good old ketchup sauce, Head Country is a good one, Bullseye Original is a good one. And I like to get yellow sauces, a sweet golden mustard, and Salt Lick sauce. This is from the barbecue joint up in Driftwood, really nice. Beer, a good Shiner Bock, a stout beer with a lot of texture. Add a little bit of that into your sauce, and it can add a whole new flavor profile. Chili the sauce up. It's Texas, right? Ground garlic powder, chili powder, cumin. That's going to add a blast of that Texas red chili. Dry rub. If you put your dry rub on your meat, put your dry rub on your sauce, and it'll help transfer. Fruit juices. Pineapple juice, coconut milk could really give your sauce more of an islandy feel. Fruit preserves. These things are great. Obviously, concentrated fruit. They make them in everything from peach, strawberry. Heck, they got jalapeno right here. Those add tremendous amounts of flavor for obvious reasons. Honey, there's a reason why there's honey barbecue sauce all over the place. It's sweet, and it gives it a sticky texture that works great on all foods. Same thing with molasses, but use a lot less molasses than the honey. Hot sauce, always can add a little dab of that, can add some spice. Liquid smoke, add a little touch of that in there. Liquid smoke is made from actual smoke that's collected on condensing plates and collected. It's the real thing. This is Chuck Blount for Chuck's Food Shack. Read more and see other recipes at expressnews.com/foodshack.
And that's your daily San Antonio Express News briefing for Thursday, June 7th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. I'm Chance Dorland.